Well, welcome everybody to the Raise Your Bars podcast with myself, Chris Baker, and my good friend and business partner, Al Rattan. How are you, Al?
You know what, Chris? Well, for those of you that don't know, obviously we Chris and I chat a little bit and quite often. And we just spent we were going to hit record about a half an hour ago. We spent a half hour just planning and strategizing and just excited about life. But I have to say, not only am I excited about life, but I'm also a little envious of your life, Chris, because you're about to go on a cruise for a week.
I am, yes. Enjoy seven days on the high seas in the Caribbean, relaxing and getting some sun, so I can come back full of energy and ready to go. And that's it's a great point actually, and it's one that I talk to people about all the time. How we all need to make sure that we take time for us and take time to recharge. That way we can come back and we can maximize our potential and work towards raising our bars. Right. If we're always go, we may think that we're busy, we may think that we're doing great things, but we're probably not. Right. So that's why I make an effort, and it's also that work-life harmony, right? So I make sure I have that time with Vicky, and this one we're actually the seven of us going, or six, me, Vicky, and mama, brother, sister-in-law, and the two twins. So it's going to be a good old time. So,
and just to play off this point, and we're already off topic from our but that importance of that recharge time. And and again, I run into a lot of people and business owners especially that are just overwhelmed and exhausted.
Right.
And they're not taking that time to spend recharging their own batteries so they're able to continue to pour into others. And I'm actually doing a series of emotional intelligence assessments on a company locally here right now, and 27 of them actually. And then debrief calls with them. And it's amazing talking to these leaders who are on the leadership team of this organization. And they are, and some of them not knowing when to take that step back and that break, and feeling like they always have to be on and available.
Yeah.
And so I've been encouraging them into our coaching sessions that you need to really take a step back and plan some time for you to recharge. So good for you on the cruise. Right? That's amazing. That's really good. I know I've got a trip coming up in October that I'm looking forward to. And we're hoping as a family, my son and my daughter-in-law plan on going back to Costa Rica in January, February area. And we're hoping that maybe we can tag along, but not too close along. Right.
Yeah. Nice. So it's good. So, I mean, there's the first lesson before we actually get into the lesson, right? Take time for you. And look after yourself. You know, whatever you've got around your home, most people have smartphones. Some people have Apple Watches, Google Watches, whatever. Guess what? You have to recharge them every day. Otherwise, they'll run out. And if they run out, they're useless.
Oh, good.
Right. So do the same for yourself.
Exactly.
So tonight we're going to continue with another installment of leadership lessons from Ted Lasso. And in this week's episode, we're going to dive into the theme of resilience. All right, this is a trait that Ted Lasso embodies wholeheartedly. Ted's unwavering ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges serves as an inspiration to his team. It teaches us how to persevere even in the toughest of times. So it does sort of follow on from what we're talking about in a way. So let's explore 6 key teaching points on how Ted Lasso demonstrates resilience in the face of adversity.
Well, the first one's a good one, and in my opinion, probably most important one out of the 6, and not just because I get to talk about it, because I think it is important. It's maintaining a positive attitude.
Right.
After, in the show, it's so after a crushing defeat, Ted keeps his spirits high and encourages his team with positivity. And I like to say, like how many, folks, think back into your careers. And how many people have you worked for that as soon as things started going bad, it was straight to negativity?
Yeah.
It was focusing on all the problems. And what does that do for the team? Right. It's dragging them down as well.
Yeah.
As leaders, I mean, yes, we have to have that realistic view of what's going on in our business and the economy and all the other stuff that's going on around us. But at the same time, we have to show and lead with courage and have that positive attitude. So really, if you're going to be a resilient leader, we need to maintain that positive attitude, even when all the stuff is not necessarily going as planned,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of companies out there this year that are struggling financially because of the economy, higher interest rates, higher costs of goods,
Right.
higher shipping costs, all these other things, which is contributing to, mass layoffs in some areas and trimming budgets and cutbacks in other areas and people not getting bonuses and stuff like that. And it's frustrating, but we still need to be positive. We still need to push forward.
Right.
Really, your optimism that you show through things can not only uplift you, but it can uplift your team and really help us overcome adversity.
Right.
We're all going to suffer. We're all going to come against adversity in our life, but within that, Napoleon Hill talks about this, lies an equal seed of opportunity
Right.
within that adversity. So look for that seed.
Definitely. It's like my favorite quote, Al, from Henry Ford: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're usually right.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that positive mental attitude that will carry you forward. And I had an example today where a company is moving from the Outlook, they're moving to Outlook 365, and there's a challenge there where if you've got a shared mailbox within that, you sort of, it doesn't always refresh, or you have to refresh it manually, or there is an option where you can open a new mailbox in a separate window. And it's amazing the negative attitudes that came from just that one simple change. I'm like, really? It's different. It's a change, but it's not the end of the world, guys. Come on, right?
No,
We can work through this, and
definitely
let's
a first
turn
world
it.
problem, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny how people will find the smallest thing and hone in on the negative instead of looking for opportunities. And so that
Exactly.
maintaining a positive attitude, I agree with you. It is number one.
Yeah.
Number two is about embracing vulnerability, and vulnerability is something that none of us really want, right? We don't like that. We fear that. And in the show, Ted opens up about his struggles. He shows vulnerability in front of the team. If you're not aware with it, he has some panic attacks and so on, even in the middle of a game, and he had to run off the pitch. And it's a real problem. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He could have hid it. He could have run away from it, but he didn't. He embraced it, and he opened up about it to help teach others as well. So the lesson is that resilience isn't about putting on a tough facade. It's about being authentic and open. Embracing vulnerability will foster stronger connections with your team. It builds credibility. It builds trust.
But
Yeah,
here's the thing, Chris, and you and I both work with leaders all the time. What's the common response when we start talking about showing vulnerability with your team? Oh, that's a weakness.
correct. Yeah.
Weakness. I will argue against that,
Mhm.
saying it builds connection. Just like
Absolutely.
it builds.
Absolutely. People are afraid to ask for help because they think it's a weakness, right?
Mhm.
They're afraid to admit that they're not good at something because they think it's a weakness. No, that's a strength. Being
Yep.
aware of that and identifying that and embracing that vulnerability and then asking for help shows that you want to do better. Right? It
Right.
shows that you're looking at the results, and it comes back to bars, right? Your behaviors and your actions equals your results and the success.
Yeah.
Now, you and I have both got different strengths, right? We've both got different weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Together, we multiply our effect because of that, right? So,
I said together we're pretty much perfect. Anyways,
well,
I'm joking. But again, another thing along with this is that you really, you know what, your team already knows that you're
right,
imperfect,
right,
right? They already
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
why not just embrace that fact that they already know, admit it, and build that stronger connection? And I like,
right,
and pardon my language here, but I've gotten a little bit better at this as I've gotten older. And a friend of mine once, we were sitting, he purchased and came and attended one of my mastermind groups. And we're going through this. He goes, you know what, Al? The older you get, you start, the less, the less you start caring. I won't use the language you used. The
yeah,
less you start caring about what other people think, right?
right, right,
And that's where I'm at, right? I'm getting older. Like, yeah, I still want to be respected and appreciated and
uh-huh,
valued and stuff like that. But again, I'm not now I don't care. I instead of nodding my head like I know what everybody's talking about, I'll stick my hand up and go, excuse me, can you explain that? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I, and then usually other people in the room are going, yeah, actually, I don't understand either. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. To do. So number 3, teaching point number 3 in this podcast, learning from failure. Okay. Now, Ted takes setbacks and opportunities as opportunities for growth and learning and improvement. And, one of, Chris and my mentor, John Maxwell, he's even written books on this, on, learning through failure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, again, resilient leaders, good leaders will actually view failure as these stepping stones. They're not necessarily stumbling blocks, right?
Correct.
Every setback can teach us a valuable lesson and contribute to future success.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it comes back down to point number 1, our attitude when we're going through these setbacks.
For sure.
They can either defeat us or they can energize us for the new possibilities.
Yeah, I shared with the emerging leaders class that I'm teaching at the moment on Tuesday this week. I shared that about failure is only final when you quit, and actually failure is a positive. All right, failure should be embraced. You should actually aim for failure, and they sometimes they look at me a bit like I've got 2 heads, but I say, listen, if growth only happens when you move outside of your comfort zone. Yes. And if you don't fail, it means you're not stretching yourself. You're not trying hard enough, because a curve, an upward curve, is never smooth. It may look it on a graph, but it's never smooth. In actual fact, there's peaks and there's troughs, right? And every failure is a learning opportunity. And you should push yourself to fail. It means you're pushing to grow, as long as you learn from it. Right? If you don't learn from it and you keep doing what you're doing, that's the definition of insanity. So push for that. All right. And keep going. Teaching point number 4, again, focus on the long game. Right? Too many people will go, I've got a 1-year plan, a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan. Guess what? You're going to live a lot longer than that. So part of the what Ted does is he keeps his focus on his long-term goals rather than getting caught up in the short-term challenges.
Yeah.
And this is key, because resilience involves looking beyond your immediate difficulties and staying committed to that bigger picture.
Right.
Again, it comes back to Napoleon Hill. We refer to that a lot, right? When your desire is so strong, it's a red, white hot burning desire, you will bust through walls to continue getting there, right?
Yeah.
If that desire and your vision of the future isn't strong enough and it doesn't mean enough to you, then yes, you will quit, right? And you'll move on to what we call the SOS, the shiny object syndrome, right?
Exactly. And we know people that too.
Yeah. So keep that perspective, keep that goal, keep that vision, and it will help you navigate through the tough times. Yes, you have to set stepping stones and short-term goals, but they should be stepping stones towards that long game. And if you haven't read Simon Sinek's book, The Infinite Game, I highly recommend it, because this is pretty much the topic that he talks about in there, and it relates to business. He's relating a lot to business, but it relates to you as individuals too.
Absolutely. And I think that, this brings back again to Napoleon Hill, and in the book Outwitting the Devil, a lot of people are drifting. So they aren't focused on that long game. They're just drifting through life.
Yep.
Number 5, we want to support teammates. Okay. So Ted supports and uplifts his team members individually during their moments of doubt, right? As leaders, we really need to come alongside and encourage and uplift those, right? Resilient leaders just don't focus on their own resilience, right? They're extending it to their team. We need to be supporting and encouraging our team, right? Because this boosts the collective resilience of your team, of your organization. We're actually talking about that today in one of the lessons with the program we're running for that company up here in Canada, Chris, and we were talking about influence, right? And about how we need to, as people of influence, we need to be supporting and uplifting and encouraging, and even, learning about our team members to the level where we can help them through some of life's troubles that are going to come up for them.
Yeah, I think it's creating the connection again, right? So again, another one of John's books, actually the first one that I really read in detail was Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, right? and creating this connection. So whether you're doing it through disc, whether you're doing it through emotional intelligence, whether you're doing it through active listening, there's all sorts of things that we would use to help you with creating this connection. It's
Absolutely.
really getting to understand the people that you work with, the people that you're married to, right? Your relations, your friends, right? How much do you actually know about them? Right. In when you have conversations, are you just talking on a surface level, or are you actually getting to know them and understand them?
Well,
If you
John talks about, sorry, if John talks about
do,
what makes, do you know what makes them cry? Do you know what makes them
right,
laugh?
right,
What they dream about,
yeah,
right? And it's like, so what makes them cry? Like what hurts them? What brings them joy? What makes them
hmm,
laugh? What are their dreams? What are their future goals, dreams, and desires? And I think if you get to know your team on that level, you grow your influence,
yeah,
right? All of these other things that we talk about all the time, you're really raising your bars.
you are, you are. It's the behaviors and the actions, right, that will
Right.
generate the results and success. So, the last teaching point before Al's going to set you an assignment. So, the last teaching point is adaptability in the face of change. Now, whether we like it or not, change is the one constant in life, right? And change should be embraced, but most people fear change, if we're honest about it.
Absolutely.
Ted adapts his coaching strategies when circumstances change unexpectedly. All right. In other words, the buzzword of the COVID era was pivot, right? And you've got to be prepared to do that. Resilient leaders are adaptable. They can pivot and adjust their approaches when faced with unforeseen challenges, thereby maintaining effectiveness in any situation.
So
So,
good.
do you embrace change or do you avoid change?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We all want change, but do we want to change? Right?
That
Yeah,
is the
question.
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the question. So, folks, we always want to give you something to think about as we wrap up here today. So, your assignment, should you choose to accept it, um, a resilience journal. So now that we've explored how Ted Lasso demonstrates his resilience, it's time for your assignment. Over the next week, keep a resilience journal. Each day, reflect on a challenging situation that you encountered. It could be at work, it could be in your personal life, it could be related to your leadership role. Write down how you responded to the adversity, what lessons you learned dealing with this, and maybe how you could have applied Ted Lasso's principles of resilience. And then at the end of the week, we want you to review your entries and identify patterns in your responses. This is bringing awareness
Yeah.
around maybe blind spots that we have in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we would love for you to join us on our Personal Growth Solutions Facebook page and share some of your insights or your reflections. And just like Ted Lasso, you have the ability to bounce back from setbacks and really inspire those around you with your resilience. So we'll see you, or we'll hear you. Hopefully, we'll see you in our Facebook group. Join us. Raise Your Bars Personal Growth Solutions for our Facebook group. Find us on social media. We'd love to connect with you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining this week's lesson on resilience. And Ted Lasso's unwavering determination in the face of adversity teaches us valuable leadership lessons. So stay resilient, stay positive, and keep embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. And we'll see you real soon.
See you soon. And if you got value out of this podcast, please share it with your friends and family. And again, don't forget to connect with us on social media. Take care.